Hello for the second Sunday of Easter, using only the Gospel, John 20:19-31. And the title of this homily is sort of called The New Jesus. The New Jesus, the Jesus after the resurrection. Sometimes I like to call him the spooky Jesus, the resurrected Jesus, or maybe the Easter Jesus. One of the things that's most common with the new Jesus is nobody seems to recognize him, and he sort of flips around and appears and disappears, and at will. The new Jesus. Well, in this morning's gospel, they're all there in the upper room, afraid of what has happened might happen to them. What happened to Jesus might happen to them, and even though the doors were locked, he appears to them. He is with them. And this is after some other things that have been happening. For example, we do these readings during the week. As far as Mary Magdalene in the garden, she didn't recognize him. She thought he was the gardener, and she was worried, and she wanted to anoint his body. Sir, if you have taken him, show me where you put him. The two disciples, Cleophas and another unnamed, walked 7 miles with Jesus this week and didn't recognize him. They only recognized him in the breaking of the bread. And even at the Lake Tiberias, they didn't recognize him. And with the wonderful catch multitude of fish, they sort of recognized him in his words, in his power, in these actions. And today's gospel, he walks in there and he says 2 times, "Peace be with you." And they didn't recognize him. But he already knew that people weren't recognizing him. And so immediately in today's gospel, he shows them his hands and his side, to help them recognize or put 2 and 2 together. And then he says, "Peace be with you" again, a second time. I think we're getting to the level of what Jesus Christ, why he has come, and what he wants us to do. He wants us to be at peace with one another, with ourselves, and with God. After he says, "Peace be with you" a second time, he sends these disciples, apostles. The word apostolos means one who is sent. He sends these people after they receive the Holy Spirit. Receive the Holy Spirit, whose sins you forgive, they are forgiven. And so he is sending these special people to play the role of him and forgive sins in his name. And to do a lot of things in his name. This is my body, this is my blood. Well, I think the Spirit of Jesus is often referred to as the Holy Spirit. And the Father sent Jesus, and the Father and the Son send the Spirit to forgive sins. This world will never be at peace unless we forgive. To forgive the other person, or to forgive the other person his or her sins. Parents must forgive sons and daughters their sins, and sons and daughters their parents. And it applies everywhere. In friendship, co-workers, forgiveness. And it certainly applies, but it certainly doesn't work. Nations are called to forgive nations. This country and that country. United States of America and the Iranians, the Arabs, the Arab world. Is there forgiveness between Arabs in the Arab world? The only way the world will be at peace if we forgive. And so, it's easy to look at other people. It's easy to look at Israel and the Palestinians. What they need to do is forgive and live together. Forgiveness. Jesus says it'll never work. You'll never have peace be with you unless you couple it with forgiveness. And it applies to every individual. It applies to every religion. It applies to every government, every group of people. If we don't learn how to forgive, there will never be peace in the world. If I don't learn how to forgive, there will never be peace in my heart. Receive the Holy Spirit. Forgive. I think that's what it's all about. Very, very difficult. It takes faith. It takes this belief. You know, Thomas in the Gospel, before he refused to believe, if I do not see the nail prints or his side, I'm not going to believe he's alive. And here he is in the Gospel. Thomas is not the doubter any longer. Thomas is a deep believer in Jesus Christ, my Lord and my God. Sometimes we just remember Thomas as only the doubter or the unbeliever, but he really became a deep believer. I think this is the new thrust of Jesus, the new Jesus, or you can say the spooky Jesus, or the resurrected Jesus, or the Easter Jesus. If anything he's pushing is he forgives us. And we are called to forgive our brothers and sisters. Without it, those words of Jesus, peace be with you, just won't work. Have a good day.